by others using the N-word. In a post on X, the rapper argued everyone should say what they want. Critics called her comments loud, wrong, and embarrassing. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Is this the tether?
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Whenever the Oklahoma City Thunder faced a challenge in the NBA regular season, the playoffs, or the finals, they rose up and got the job done. OKC played like champions most of the season, and they were on top of their game Sunday night, using a dominant second half to beat the Indiana Pacers 103-91 for their first NBA championship since moving to OKC in 2008. NBA MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was also voted MVP of the finals. SGA led the Thunder with 29 points, 12 assists, and 2 block shots. Indiana had to play most of the game without star point guard Tyrese Halliburton, who suffered an Achilles tendon injury with 4:55 left in the first quarter. There was another major news story in the NBA on Sunday. The Phoenix Suns traded future Hall of Famer Kevin Durant to the Houston Rockets, a young team that made it to the Western Conference semifinals this season. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
LA's newest soul food restaurant is getting spectacular reviews. Great place with amazing food. The Sunday champagne brunch is fabulous. I saw the place on IG. We tried it for lunch. We were blown away by the food and the service. The restaurant has an inviting atmosphere and a dynamic vibe. Over the years, Lionel has catered most major Black events in Los Angeles, including all of our KBLA Talk 1580 gatherings. But now he has his own spot, Lionel's Soul Food Cuisine, and you need to check it out at 8501 South Vermont Avenue in Los Angeles. Oxtails, baked or fried chicken, meatloaf, turkey chops, pork chops, catfish, short ribs, and all the fixins. Collard greens, mac and cheese, yams, red beans, black-eyed peas, and more. And of course, hot water cornbread, satisfying drinks, and delicious desserts. Lionel's is a great place for brunch, lunch, or dinner. If it's good enough for us, it's good enough for you, because we've got your black. So, head on over to Lionel's Soul Food Cuisine at 8501 South Vermont Avenue in Los Angeles and tell Lionel you heard about it on KBLA Talk 1580.
First things first.
Things first, it's the DU General, Money B. I'ma put you up on the schedule, 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not 2 in seven. Let's go. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First black on talk radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique DiPrima go way back. Tap Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted black and brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the movement. So we tune in. The first things first with the queen of Black Talk Radio, Dominique DiPrima. Go sis.
First things first.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. KBLA Talk 1580. This is First Things First, but I'm not Dominique DiPrima. I am James Farr, and I'm sitting in this morning for Dominique as she is, the delegation knows, making her way over to the continent, and I'm going to be holding it down this morning for the Queen, her and Miles, making that great pilgrimage. I can't wait to hear more about what Dominique and Miles, what they get into, along with that delegation that they take over. They're taking over to the continent. I'm sure she has some exciting adventures. So Dominique, Miles, and all that are in that delegation, wishing you safe travels. We're going to do this show just like Dominique does. Third hour, we're going to look at a person of interest. In this case, it's going to be Dr. Nicordelai Corte, my distinguished colleague who is the host of A More Perfect Union, which airs right here on KBLA Talk 1580, Monday through Thursday from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And in our second hour, it's Monday, so we're going to do a Mindful Monday. Sahara Ali will be in to help us get our minds right, help us set our intentions for the week. And Dr. Rashima Separad is also going to be joining me in the bottom half of the hour. She's a cybersecurity expert, an Iranian. She teaches Middle East at the college and university, and we'll tell you a little bit more about her. And then in our first hour, joined by a colleague, the Honorable Mike Davis, and he's a president of the New Frontier Democratic Party, and we're going to talk about the governor's race that's fastly approaching, as well as some other West Coast LA type topics and news events. It's so much happening in the world just in the last 48 hours. I'm so grateful that we have this distinguished panel, for the next 3 hours for you to be along with us. Me and Odell are here. You're welcome to join us. Phone lines are open, 800-920-1580. That's 800-920-1580. You are welcome to call like right now. I'm going to open up the phones all day. I know Dominique gives amnesty to folks who call often. Anybody can call today. Don't try it, though, because I will, I got to keep it in check because I'm managing the shop while Dominique is off and away. We're coming off our 4th anniversary of KBLA Talk 1580. 4 amazing events. If you were at one of them, I want to hear from you. This morning, I'll offer some thoughts over the next 3 hours of what we experienced. But right now, I'm going to welcome the Honorable Mike Davis into the seat, the former Assembly member. Mike is, as I pull up his bio real quick. Mike, bear with me 1 second, brother. Mike is the former Assembly member. And we're going to talk this morning about, as I said just a second ago, the governor's race that is coming up in 2028, I believe it is. So Mike is also, he's, as I said, the president of the New Frontier Democratic Party. And prior to that, he's from Charlotte, North Carolina, and he came to Southern California. And is a trained historian with a graduate degree in public administration and behavioral science. Davis also completed executive programs at USC Harvard before winning elected office. He served under Supervisor Yvonne Bratworth Burke and under Congresswoman Maxine Waters. In the state assembly, he chaired key committees and co-chaired the Prop 36 initiative, which ended California's 3 strikes law. Today's joining us, and we're going to continue his discussion. Good morning, Mike. How you doing, brother?
James Farr, thank you so very much for allowing me to have a discussion about California politics this morning, and it's always a privilege to be able to share this discussion through KBLA. So thank you so much. And before we start, I just want to add University of Southern California, which has also been a significant part of my life. I got my master's in public policy there and my doctorate degree in organizational leadership from University of Southern California. I could not be remiss in failing to acknowledge their contribution to what I do. So thank you so very much for the introduction.
Absolutely. So fight on. You're Trojan, proud Trojan, huh?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I mean, you've had a storied career. I mean, you've worked under legislators. You've worked under at both the county level as well as the congressional level, and then you held office at the state assembly level. And
that's good.
Yeah. Now we're in a space that I'm just still trying to wrap my head around everything, and we definitely gonna get into this governor's race that's upcoming when we
Sure.
come forward.
Sure. I served under two mayors as well. I served under Mayor Eric Garcetti, who appointed me to the Board of Public Works, where I served for a decade and a year, I think. And during that time, I served as President Pro Tem there, and then also served as 2 of those years also under Mayor Karen Bass more recently up until the last election last November. So, yes, sir.
So I think what you were telling me is that you are more than qualified, and you just touted all of your bona fides.
Well, I think even more than that, just trying to acknowledge the path that I've journeyed to be able to have some discussion and to give credit to some of the people with whom I've been blessed to work. And it's been an honor to work with some of the public policy leaders in Los Angeles, most of whom have national stature and work that they have done. And certainly I have learned from them. As well as I have for other places that I've been privileged to go.
Well, we're going to pick this conversation up on the other side. I want to, get your take on what's happening here locally with the ICE raids, and we're going to get into the governor's race when we come forward. You're listening to First Things First, KBLA, Talk 1580, your ancestors' favorite radio station.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we're proud to be celebrating 4 years on the air, but we know we could not have made it this far without you. We work hard every single day to curate conversations that will enlighten, encourage, and empower you. So, from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, a big thank you for your love and support.
You don't know how much you mean to me.
And by the way, if your smartphone did not update automatically, be sure to download our brand new KBLA 1580 app. We think you'll love all the new features, including new ways to send us photos and video in real time, whenever news breaks, while we're on the air. It's a new dawn, a new day for KBLA Talk 1580, and we're glad you're on this journey with us.
You never turned away, you were right there. Thank you.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-550-9651.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-550-9651. That's 800-550-9651.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
Good morning. Yeah, you're getting back, but you're not getting back with Dominique. You're getting back with James Farr. I'm sitting in for Dominique today. Don't worry, Dominique will be back on air tomorrow. So we're holding it down this morning, and I am joined by the Honorable Mike Davis. And we're going to continue this conversation. Mike is the president of the New Frontier Democratic Party. And we're going to talk a little bit about the upcoming governor's race. And as that field kind of starts to reveal itself, it's a little crowded right now. Mike is going to help us through this. But Mike, before we get into that, there's a lot happening locally. Dodgers are making donations to help immigrant families. ICE is continuing to, and federal agents are ravaging the streets of Los Angeles and the surrounding communities. Have you seen anything like this before, Mike?
I have not seen the degree to which we have the chaos and confusion occur in Los Angeles before. And, of course, I've been here over 30 years now. So, no, I have not seen anything like this before. It is a situation where we are going to have some legal issues hammered out. I think that the importance of this is that Los Angeles, like many other metropolitan areas in this country, are very much dependent upon the people who contribute to our society, who do a significant job.
Right.
And so that we have people in Los Angeles, not unlike Houston or New York or any other big urban area in this country, that have been here, have been residents here, have made a significant contribution. So this is why Governor Newsom is fighting to make sure that our economy, our city, remains intact as a place that is not only the second largest city in the country, but also is a city that is well run and serves the people who help fund and help pay taxes here. So we're not Hooterville. We are different. And he, as the governor, has the responsibility to try to protect our city. And at the same time, we realize that the President of the United States has the authority to run the country. And again, there are some conflicts of law that have to be hammered. That have to be hammered out here. But this is the reason for the governor's leadership and fighting to try to keep Los Angeles in place, or California in place for that matter. This is the reason why the governor has taken the leadership and the positions that he has taken. And at the same time, Trump has...
Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead. You finish your point. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say at the same time, Trump has crafted arguments of law that are going before the appeals court, as I understand it, that need to be hammered out in terms of who has the authority to utilize military forces such as the National Guard.
I mean, terrorizing people, Mike, and then throwing legal arguments at the wall and hoping they stick, man. It is just heartbreaking. It's
unconscionable.
There you go. It's just we're gonna violate. We're gonna bend this Constitution, as far as we can, and we'll even break it. Right? That's what it seems like the Trump administration is doing. But I am relieved to see corporations. I saw a hotel, I believe it was in the city of Montebello, a very popular chain hotel, has issued statements that they have no contracts with ICE and they are canceling government contracts, and some of these properties are taking government rates off of their availability. Right? I mean, we see in my community in Pasadena, ICE agents pulling guns on elders.
Right. The approach absolutely has to be improved, and there are ways that we can achieve the necessary legal results in an appropriate way, and there has been clearly inappropriate approaches to dealing with American citizens and residents of this country who have made a significant contribution to make us who we currently are today. And so, again, while we understand that the President of the United States is who he is, we have to have respect for those who have been elected to help make us, California, what we are. And the governor has to be respected to that degree. And again, we have an appellate court that needs to hammer out some of these issues. I think we have to respect people who have contributed to this society. And then I think the other issue is that when we think about immigration, Dr. King said it years ago, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So the way we disrespect and abuse immigrants is something that also has to have some transparency. Just because you believe a certain thing doesn't make it right for you to disrespect and misuse people who have had significant contributions to our society. And quite frankly, many of these individuals who are residents of this state have been responsible for us to enjoy the freedoms that we enjoy. And they need to be treated as such and recognized as such for the contributions they've made to our society. I'm aware, in conclusion of my remarks, that the polls say that people have other issues that of concern in minority communities because of the way we've been pitted against each other. But at the end of the day, we still have to make a decision to know that we cannot support injustice anywhere.
No, we
cannot.
We can't. But some cities, like in my city, Pasadena, over the weekend, they issued a statement from the city that they were shutting down certain recreational activities in certain facilities because of the ICE raids and, federal agents, rolling up to parks and community centers and, arresting, detaining, harassing people. But not everybody is happy about that, Mike, though. I mean, it's some, no matter where they stand on the immigration challenges and issues that we have, right? But some people are saying, well, why should I be penalized, right? Like, why can't I enjoy city facilities and services that my tax dollars and these same people tax dollars support? I mean, are they wrong to think that?
No, they're absolutely correct to think that, and I agree with them personally as well. We have to have a society that is respectful of one another, and again, we have a judicial system to resolve conflicts, and things that are of conflict should be appropriately placed there for appropriate resolutions. When we look politically at where we are today, I happen to be a Democrat, that we see that there is an imbalance in terms of the presence of leaders in these areas of government. In the judicial area, we have probably clearly overwhelming Republican influence. In the legislative arena, it's the same. And in the executive, it's equally the same in terms of an imbalance of ideology politically as to who's running the government and who's running these various levels of government. So we have an uphill battle from a democratic perspective, but as it relates to the law, as it relates to the 14th Amendment, that there should be equal protection of the law, then this is the issue where we have some difference with regard to what's going on today. We have to be respected in this country as one of the 50 states in the Union, and that we have to certainly we respect the President of the United States' authority. However, not when it violates and infringes upon our very own freedoms.
But I'm gonna push back. I'm gonna push back a little bit, Honorable Mike Davis. I'm an independent, right? I don't necessarily do party politics, and Dominique would accuse me of pushing a line that is adversarial to Democratic politics, right? The Democratic Party, right? But I gotta say, some say it's the Democrats' fault that we're in this mess, right? What do you say to that?
Right. Well, I agree that when we have a conversation, we have to be intelligent. And again, as I've been able to just in this very few minutes talk about what is and should not be, I have to acknowledge you and others who have difference of opinion as well. And perhaps this is the core of the conflict we have today, our failure to do such. So I respect opinions of different people, and I acknowledge that the Democrats have some challenges. We need to, in the Democratic Party, whether we want to hear it or not,
there we go.
We need to understand that there are people who have differences of opinion, even within the Democratic Party.
There you go.
We have regional values. I'm from Los Angeles. Most all of my adult life, I've lived here in Los Angeles.
Same
However,
here.
There are other areas of this state who have different regional values than we have in big Los Angeles and or any other urban area. So Democrats need to learn that every Democrat is not going to have the same value around every single issue that we have in the big city. So to your point, I mean, as an independent, you have some different opinion on that. I recognize, I acknowledge, I hear what you're saying on that. And I think that as we have discussions, which is an exchange between more than one person, not a dictatorial instruction from one person, that we have to acknowledge each other. And I think that's the problem in the Democratic Party that we had that got us to the point where we are today.
Well, see, now, Brother Davis, I'm going, Odell, extend him, re-extend his invitation to the cookout, brother. He's because we have to put that part of it in front of the conversation before we can actively listen to one another, right, and hear each other. Tell me about the new Democratic Frontier Party, right, because it lost me with the name.
Democrat, yeah, very interesting story that is very much intertwined in the American story of the African American experience. In 1960, during the time in which I always start with the reference of which way the wind was blowing, which is that in February of 1960, we had students in North Carolina A&T State University, for example, that sat in on the Woolworth lunch counter. That was a national, maybe international activity, because young African Americans were saying that we believe we're as good as anyone else. Very similar to some of the issues in the immigration issue today. But later on that same year, in August of 1960, we had the Democratic National Convention in Los Angeles. And a young man by the name of United States Senator John Kennedy was the keynote speaker who spoke about a new frontier. He was talking about including African Americans in society. This is the groundwork by which New Frontier Democratic Club established itself. 3 years later, after we established the first major Democratic club in the city of Los Angeles, we helped to elect the first city council person in Los Angeles elect, and that was Tom Bradley in 1963. So we discovered then that we didn't have a black councilman in Los Angeles in 1960. And 3 years later, we made a difference. And since that time, we've been supporting different progressive public policy candidates, and of all cultures, but specifically including African Americans in public policy life in Los Angeles. This is what we have done and what we continue to do today. That's the history, in a nutshell, of New Frontier Democratic Club. We're always interviewing candidates at every level of government and trying to make sure that those with progressive thoughts, basically thoughts of inclusion, are those that we help to get elected.
Well, we're going to come forward, and when we come forward with Mike Davis, we're going to get more into this upcoming governor's race here in the state of California, which, you know, as they say, as California goes, so goes the nation. And it looks like the state is being punished for going many of the ways that we do in what seems to be some retaliatory. And I think that's a college word, right? It's just pettiness that's being wielded on community members here. The field is opening up. There's one candidate that has yet to determine whether or not they will be entering the race. I think that may shake some things. We'll find out more about what Mike Davis thinks about, the Honorable Mike Davis thinks about what's ahead of us in this upcoming. I mean, I think if ever there were an election that were important, considering what we're dealing with at 1600 Pennsylvania, now is the time. Stay with us. Stay right here with us. When we come forward, we'll continue this conversation with Mike Davis, only on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. The Pentagon says Operation Midnight Hammer was the largest B-2 bomber strike in U.S. history. Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Kane, said he believes the U.S. struck a blow to Iran's nuclear ambitions.
Initial battle damage assessments indicate that all three sites sustained extremely severe damage and destruction.
Defense officials say President Trump's strike on Iran's nuclear sites was a success, with every target hit. A black couple from Georgia has been awarded $2.25 million after their baby was decapitated during delivery and the autopsy was posted online without consent. The pathologist, Dr. Jackson Gates, was found liable for invasion of privacy and emotional distress. And Kevin Durant was traded to the Houston Rockets and found out live on stage. During a panel at Fanatics Fest, Durant looked stunned as fans shouted the news. Moderator Taylor Rooks confirmed it. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Whenever the Oklahoma City Thunder faced a challenge in the NBA regular season, the playoffs, or the finals, they rose up and got the job done. OKC played like champions most of the season, and they were on top of their game Sunday night, using a dominant second half to beat the Indiana Pacers 103-91 for their first NBA championship since moving to OKC in 2008. NBA MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was also voted MVP of the finals. SGA led the Thunder with 29 points, 12 assists, and 2 block shots. Indiana had to play most of the game without star point guard Tyrese Halliburton, who suffered an Achilles tendon injury with 4:55 left in the first quarter. There was another major news story in the NBA on Sunday. The Phoenix Suns traded future Hall of Famer Kevin Durant to the Houston Rockets, a young team that made it to the Western Conference semifinals this season. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. LA County's new Justice Care and Opportunities Department, or JCOD, is here to support justice-involved individuals and their families. The JCOD Support Center is now taking calls at 1-833-LACJCOD. That's 1-833-522-5263. Available 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., the Support Center is your one-stop shop for re-entry issues and court support. They offer court reminders, connections to local services, transportation assistance for housing, court appearances, and childcare. The JCOD hotline provides personalized help to connect you with services that you need. And don't forget to check out justiceconnect.org for more information. Remember, it's free and available every day at 1-833-522-5263. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Every mother deserves a healthy and joyous pregnancy and birth, and every baby deserves to thrive. That's why the Los Angeles County Abundant Birth Project is here. The Abundant Birth Project is a guaranteed income program that provides cash during pregnancy to pregnant individuals at the highest risk of preterm and low birth rate babies. Although program enrollment has closed, our commitment to Black joy and thriving continues. Through tailored services that foster mental well-being and community-based resources, we provide care and support during pregnancy and after the baby is born to help build brighter futures for our families. Join us in celebrating abundant births in LA County. For more information, please visit abundantbirthproject.org. abundantbirthproject.org.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. Every girl deserves a chance to shine. That's the belief behind Forgiving for Living, Inc. Since 1999, this organization has been empowering at-risk girls ages 13 to 18, helping them overcome behavioral and mental health challenges. Founder Wendy Gladney's personal journey inspired the mission to give girls hope and purpose through the power of forgiveness. Through their ambassador program, workshops, and annual conference, Forgiving for Living has touched over 3,000 young lives, providing mentoring, life skills, training, and tools for building self-esteem and confidence. You can make a difference. Visit forgivingforliving.org to donate, volunteer, become a mentor, or find help for a young girl in need. Forgiving for Living, Inc., building brighter futures for young girls. Visit forgivingforliving.org today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
And you're not getting back to Dominique DiPrima. You're getting back to James Farr. First things first. I'm sitting in for the Queen Dominique DiPrima this morning, holding it down while you got me and Odell. And again, he said the phone lines are open. You're welcome to call in 800-920-1580. That's 1-800-920-1580. Also, if you're not following KBLA, make sure you can download our new app. If you're using that old version of the app, there's a new version of the app. Make sure, if it didn't update, make sure you go over to wherever you get your apps and download the new app. Is a new way to communicate with us, submit information. But right now we're joined by the Honorable Mike Davis, former assembly person, and now the president of the New Frontier Democratic Party. And we have a governor's election coming up in 2026, and Mike has some Honorable Mike Davis has some insights, and the field is pretty crowded right now. And before you get to where I know you think I'm going, Brother Davis, and who we're waiting for is, tell us what we should be paying attention to right now.
Well, this is going to be the most competitive gubernatorial governor's election.
Why?
In decades.
I mean, aren't they all competitive? But why this one?
This one because of the numerous people with diverse experience that are presenting themselves as candidates in this race. The number of them with the volume of experience, all in one gubernatorial, all in one governor's race. We haven't had this many individuals, this dynamic of experience in decades. We have, for example, Javier Barceta, who is the former Attorney General and the United States Health Secretary.
California Attorney General, just so folks aren't confused. Okay, he's former California.
That is correct.
Okay.
That is correct. That is correct. You have also former President of the State Senate, Tony Atkins. You also have the current Lieutenant Governor, Lenny Kounalakis, as a candidate. You have former Speaker of the State Assembly and former Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa.
Mm-hmm.
You have former Controller of California, Betty Yee.
Mm-hmm.
And yet we have the prospect of a decision that people are waiting to see. And that is, will the president, the vice president of the United States, a woman whom we have helped to nurture in statewide office, from state attorney general in California, I think she was the first woman to do that, as well as she was recently the United States senator from the great state, and I think she was the first African-American woman to do that from California. So that statewide, this is a person with whom we are very familiar and help to obtain critically important leadership in the state of California. Question, will she run for governor of the state of California and add her name to a competitive list and yet give Californians perhaps one of the most spirited races and choices that they can make for leadership in decades.
But as some are saying, wouldn't that be a step backwards? Right. I mean, you've been vice president. Yeah. First a senator, right? U.S. senator, then vice president. And while, we welcome a fighter, I won't opine on any of the candidates that you listed, although I think we should have included Tony Thurmond in that list.
Oh, I'm sorry. Please excuse me.
I mean, there are a lot. There are a lot.
I stand corrected.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. No, I stand corrected. Superintendent Tony Thurmond is also a candidate in that race. So thank you for that. I'm only human.
Yeah, and it's 6 a.m, right? We still stretching and waking up. But the delegation is in the car right now. Like they like, come on, brothers, come on. But I mean, would it be a step back for Vice President Harris, right? I mean, to consider a run for the gubernatorial race when you consider, I mean, we're already in a kind of precarious space in the state of California, and we see how the federal government, particularly one person, but the MAGA movement, right, are very penal to the state of California. And when you look at that resources, I mean, just the resources that they'll bring to bear on kind of like destroying her credibility even more so. Is it? I mean, but I'm back in that. Is that a step backwards to become, run for governor?
I think that's a fair question that needs to be examined. And often they say, even in California, when a person runs for state office and then they come to Los Angeles to run for city council, and they ask the same question: is that a step back? And in so many ways, it is not. In terms of the level of intensity of practicing public policy at the city level, and in terms of benefits and pay is much better than the state legislature for those who are serving in district seats in the Senate or the Assembly. So let's look at the choice that Kamala Harris has to make. Your grandparents probably told you a bird in the hand is worth more than two in the bush.
Oh, every day.
When we look at the history, her public policy history of having been the first woman attorney general, as well as African American United States senator, and having already served successfully there, then how could that be a step backwards in a state who arguably brings forth the 1/5 of the nation's economy, and some people say 1/4 of it, as we have increased in the revenues we generate. So how, in fact, could it be a step backwards, one? And then number two, how could it be that the experience that you had, the stage you stand on in terms of public policy, comes from this great institution? So finally, is it a step backwards to even be a candidate for president and to be a governor in doing it? And so when I look at all of these three areas, I would say, to answer your question, James, that it clearly is not a step backwards.
Well, we'll see. But I guess the concern is, and what we're hearing in the chatter is, why is she waiting, right? There's the field gets wider. And there's, rumblings that maybe even Rob Bonta state attorney may even consider a run for that. And so you have, clearly folks.
Well, my understanding is that Attorney General Bonta was considering it, and he hasn't decided to move forward on it as of yet. And I guess one of the questions also is, do you think the citizens of California would like to have competitive choices, perhaps, as many as they can have to choose from? Or do you think they want to just maybe not have as much competition and let's just deal with what we have on the table right now? So some would argue that California, as innovative as it is, that it would want to have as much competition as is humanly possible to choose from.
Well, I don't know if that competition, the candidate that's most popular, the candidate that has the most resources, or is it that we want a candidate that is going to competently, vigorously fight for the residents of this great, might as well call it United State of California, right? Like, is that it? We're going to continue that conversation on the other side of it. I really want to understand, why is she waiting, right? And I think that's the question, right? That's the question that folks want to know. Like, if Vice President Harris, if you're going to get out there, get out there. We already saw what happened when you had a shorter runway, which I don't think was fair, but that's not this conversation. We'll continue this conversation with the Honorable Mike Davis when we come forward, only on KBLA Talk 1580. We got your black.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
Are you ready to play? Then jump into the LA 84 Foundation's Free Playday Block Party, a community celebration for all ages, including live music, dancing, LA's pro sports teams, great local food trucks, plus special giveaways for you to take home. Enjoy an exciting, fun-filled day for the entire family. Join us Saturday, June 28th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 2141 West Adams Boulevard. To register, go to la84.org. We'll see you Saturday, June 28th at LA 84 Foundation's Free Playday Block Party.
When you turn to the Employment Development Department, we'll help you get there. Whether it's support for you and your family while you find a new job, or the resources to focus on your recovery after illness or injury, we can help you move forward. From support while you bond with your newborn, to helping serve your family while your partner serves our country. Your EDD. We'll help you get there. For more information, visit edd.ca.gov.
During this time, it's important for everyone to know your rights. The 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendments in the U.S. Constitution protects every one of us, regardless of immigration status. The 4th Amendment requires a judicial warrant to search your home. The 5th protects your right to remain silent, and the 6th gives you the right to an attorney. Just remember,
No warrant, no key. Fly privacy. You don't have to speak. No lawyer inside. Don't say a thing. Yeah, we all got rights.
Hey, we all got rights. This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
You're getting back with James Farr, his First Things First. I'm sitting in for the Queen, Dominique DiPrima, and it's me and Odell holding it down this morning. I'm in conversation with the Honorable Mike Davis, former Assembly member from the in the great state of California, and we've been having a conversation about this upcoming California governor's race, and I'm looking for Mike to kind of pull me over a little bit, all right, bring me to his side, and maybe help influence you and I and the delegation on a candidate. But we were just talking about, as this field gets more crowded, there's one candidate that I believe folks are waiting to see if she is going to run, and that would be the former Vice President Kamala Harris. Mike, what's taking her so long?
Well, I think that this campaign or this candidate has already told us publicly this summer she will be releasing her decision. So she has given us the time period in which she will make a decision, and all of them have to make a decision based on many things in terms of their commitment to be a candidate for this office. So we've already been told before the end of the summer she will make her decision and let us know. That's what it is from her.
But haven't we seen that, right? There was President Biden that, many thought and I don't want to conflate, right? And
sure.
Move into that. But many thought he should have made a decision sooner, right? To give her the best opportunity to carry the presidency, that campaign forward. I mean, shouldn't that have been a lesson learned? Why wait? The field gets more crowded. People start backing certain candidates. Resources go another way. Why wait?
Well, I guess every individual candidate would have to answer that question. I could not do that for them. But usually candidates, I've been a candidate myself, people have to decide in terms of the support that they will get when they decide to commit. They have to confront their family to see how that will play out. They have to see what kind of effectiveness they will have with the plans they have for leadership. So when we look at those areas, those are among those choices that people have to be comfortable with before they decide that, yes, I'm all in. I'm all in on this.
Let's go to Carl,
I think,
Mike.
Yeah.
Carl's calling us on the line. Carl, what you got for us this morning?
Sure.
Hey, good morning. How you doing? I see that your guest got his bid in already for Kamala Harris. Is that fair? But hey, anyway, I think I'll go with Tony, and I'm no longer a Democrat. I'm giving up that Democrat seat, and I think I'll go with Tony if he can get somebody over there to manage him, like Gavin Newsom right now is in training to be governor of the United States. But I think I'll go with Tony and see what his concerns are with the people. If he can come ask us what are our concerns. One of them is, in the community I'm at, is homes, housing. How can a person be able to buy them a home with the state's help, or reparations coming through with the state help? I mean, there's a lot of concerns that the people need to know what these candidates are about, and it's only one that I could give my vote to right now, because the rest of them, I just don't trust them.
Well, I appreciate that, bro, Carl. Well, first, Newsom can't be governor of the United States, but we feel you. Brother Davis, and thank you, Carl, for the call. Brother Davis.
Yeah, my discussion this morning is around the question of, do citizens of California want all of those who could potentially run, or do they want to limit it to those who currently are on the table? In other words, my discussion this morning is really simply about inclusion. And if, in fact, we have inclusion based upon what we have heard, we've discussed James Farr, all of those candidates that we've heard about. And so that's the purpose of this discussion. I haven't pushed one candidate over the other, but I have been inclusive about what we have heard of all of those candidates that we have heard that are going to run. And you made a significant contribution making sure I didn't omit anyone.
Well, we're going to continue the conversation when we come forward, Brother Davis. I really want to get what your final thoughts are on what we should be paying attention, because this election is November 3rd, 2026. So it is literally around the corner. Only on KBLA, Talk 1580, we got your black.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach: transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal: prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
Nationwide is so much more than a great insurance company. They're one of America's largest financial services companies. Like how I'm more than Saquon Barkley, the NFL's reigning leading rusher. I'm also the NFL's leading husher. Shh, hush up back there. Wow, I might have just set the hushing record. Well, almost. For your insurance and financial needs, Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Investment Services Corporation, member FINRA, Columbus, Ohio.
Find a righteous rage and don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
And good morning. It's James Farr. I'm in for Dominique DiPrima. This is First Things First, only on KBLA Talk 1580. The Queen is off and headed to the continent, her and Miles. Can't wait to hear all of their adventures and what this particular pilgrimage is all about as they travel to the west coast of the continent. Boy, that sounds so exciting. This morning we're joined by the Honorable Mike Davis, and he's the president of the New Frontier Democratic Party. We've had a conversation about the 2026 California governor's race, and a very populated field right now, a crowded field right now, and as we kind of move into this space of where folks are wondering if Vice President Kamala Harris will be entering the race. She said that she would do it at the end of the summer, Mike. But my question for you, Mike, and I plan to give a good amount of this last segment to you so you can really drive home the message and the point.
Sure.
But folks,
Sure.
Some are suffering from, campaign fatigue, right? It was exhausting in this last presidential cycle, right? What do you say to those people? Some are either washing their hands, kind of like, there's a governor's race coming. What do you have? What gives us hope at this point to even stay engaged in this process?
Well, as we've lived, we've observed politics, and we know it's something that is a lifelong pursuit, and we have to roll up our sleeves, shake ourselves off, and get back to being reinvigorated and get back in the game again, to push those principles that we think are best for our country, to help to interact with those individuals that we oftentimes disagree with, but coming to a happy conclusion on how we can increase the life for everyone. So whoever leads is going to be leading for everyone. And so we don't want the kind of conflict that we have experienced. We would love to, all things being said, to be able to work together and to create an American dream for everyone. I think that's our goal, and I think that's what we share, is the understanding that as American citizens, as residents of this great country, that we can come together to work in the best interest of everyone.
Some think that the state could actually flip. Is that the biggest nightmare? Because I don't want folks to feel like we'll vote for anybody so that we don't have a Republican governor, right? But do you think the state could flip?
Well, anything can happen, but however, I like California's politics in terms of it being a blue state, and I like the progressive policies of many of our leaders, and I welcome it. And so we all have our own preferences, but that's what I prefer. I am a person who loves civil rights. I love the American Constitution. I love particularly the 14th Amendment, where it says equal protection under the law. And I try to make sure that the work that we do in public policy reflects that. So I don't know what other people like, but I know what I like. And so California is a blue state, and I think it's a wonderful thing. And I promote and support progressive candidates who can bring about activities to make sure that equal protection under the law exists.
I'm going to give you the last minute, Mike. Honorable Mike Davis, who is the president of the New Frontier Democratic Party. It's something I've learned over the weekend at some of the KBLA fourth anniversary events, a question that just kind of themed through some of the panels. What is sustaining hope for you? I'll give you the last minute.
Well, I think that as leaders, we have to recognize how we treat people matters. It determines if we have splits and chaos in our community. We as leaders have to make sure that we not only acknowledge the critical issues of immigration and reparations, but that we come together in terms of health care, that we understand the importance of education. We know that economic development is run by tax dollars. We have to make sure that public contracting is equitable, that various communities who are historically left out are included in as well. We don't want just public policy. We want the benefits of those policies to impact our community so that all of our children can be included in. And as far as the governor's race is concerned, do Californians want to have every possible choice to choose from or not? And if they do, we know that the proof of the pudding is in the eating. Where do these candidates stand?
We gotta leave it. We gotta leave it right there, Brother Davis. I'm sorry, we hard on the break. I appreciate you taking the time this morning. KBLA Talk 1580, your ancestors' favorite radio station.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. The Pentagon says Operation Midnight Hammer was the largest B-2 bomber strike in U.S. history. Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Kane, said he believes the U.S. struck a blow to Iran's nuclear ambitions.
Initial battle damage assessments indicate that all three sites sustained extremely severe damage.